Hey there, health coach. A lot of new health coaches ask me about the importance of having a niche and a target market because they hear so much from marketing experts about the need to hone in on a specific area of focus and an ideal client. Well, I am no marketing expert, but I have gone through my own process and I have taken lots of marketing courses over the years to market my own health coaching practice. So I thought today I would share my own personal experience, my own story that will hopefully bring you some clarity around niche and target market. So when I was a student at IIN over 10 years ago, thinking about launching my health coaching business, it wasn't really obvious what my niche or target market would be. I hadn't personally gone through any major health and wellness journey. There really wasn't one specific health and wellness topic that I was most passionate about, and I didn't really feel like I had a very compelling story to tell. So I basically got into health coaching because I was miserable in my corporate job, essentially, and I really wanted to find something that brought more meaning and purpose into my life. I wanted to do work that really mattered. So when I actually launched my health coaching practice at the time when I was still a student at IIN, my story was pretty generic. And I basically launched as a generalist health coach. I didn't have a specific ideal client, niche, or target market. And so in the first 2 years of my business, I took the throw spaghetti on the wall to see what would stick approach, meaning I just did tons of different things. I worked with anyone who would hire me. I did all the things that IIN said I should do. I launched a website and I started writing a regular newsletter to my list. I created a freebie. I joined a networking group and I showed up every Tuesday morning at breakfast at 7:30 a.m. with my elevator speech ready to go. I started writing a column in our local newspaper on health and wellness, and I wrote that column for over 3 years. I ended up partnering with a friend of mine who was a chef, and we did some cooking classes together. My husband, who's an osteopath, and I created a workshop series, and we teamed up and led that a variety of different times. I also did some collaborations with yoga and dance studios offering cleanses. I also booked out community centers and I offered free talks and workshops there. I set up tables at local health and wellness fairs. Honestly, I did it all really. And at most of those events, I got everyone's email address that I could, and I started building my email list. Like I said, I seriously tried it all. And so a lot of this worked for the first 2 years in my practice. I was getting clients, I was working steadily, and I really felt good about my early success. But all of my clients had different conditions, health issues, and challenges, and I was spending a ton of time just researching natural protocols for all these different people, which, by the way, is out of scope for my training as a health coach. And I was getting really overwhelmed and burnout. The pace and the amount of work really wasn't sustainable, so I needed to find another way. And I decided at the time that I'd like to work with a business coach, someone who could help me really take my practice to the next level and really work with me in my practice, right? As opposed to doing a bunch of group things that were fairly generic. So about 2 years into my practice, I hired a business coach who really helped me look at my life and reflect on what I'd been through and to really be open to listening to what was happening in my environment. So some of the things I noticed was I was surrounded by issues with sugar. So my dad had type 2 diabetes. My best friend called me one day and told me that she had prediabetes and wondered what she should do. Many of my clients at the time were dealing with blood glucose challenges and insulin resistance and sugar cravings, lots of snacking on sugary foods. And I was having some similar issues too. So at the time I was experimenting with lots of cleanses, and I noticed that every time I do a cleanse, I would crave and eat tons of fruit. And even after 10, 12, 21 day cleanses, I still had symptoms and I wasn't losing weight. And so one day in the shower, all of this just came to me and I had this aha moment that I should really focus on sugar and helping people balance their blood sugars naturally. I finally had it, my niche and area of focus, hallelujah. And so with the help of my coach, I went on to develop an 8-week online group coaching program called The Sugar Shift that I ran for over 5 years. And so once I was able to hone in on this niche and create a signature program, my practice absolutely took off. And so what I was noticing was that I could focus all all of my efforts on studying and researching all about sugar and its impact on the body. I focused all my freebies and challenges, newsletters, blogs, and social media content all on this topic. I wrote my weekly newspaper column all about sugar. I also streamlined my marketing efforts and my budget on the right people. I even got recognized in a few times at my local health food store. People would come up to me and say, "Oh, you're the sugar lady." So I absolutely believe in having a niche and a target market and an ideal client. Like I said, once I figured this out, everything changed for me in my health coaching practice. But it did take a few years for me to get to that place. Like I said, it wasn't obvious for me in the beginning what my niche and target would be when I was still a student. And for some of you, I know it is really obvious. You know, if you have a specific health condition or if there's one topic that you're totally passionate about. But for some of us, we need to get out there and we need to start doing the work and see what unfolds. So there is no way in a million years I could have ever defined blood sugar as an area that I wanted to focus on when I was a new health coach, just launching my practice. You know, I could never have just sat down and done one of those define your niche or ideal client exercises and come up with women in their 50s, 60s, and 70s with blood sugar issues. It would have just never happened. I really needed to get out there, work with clients, gain some experience and confidence, and then be open to who was showing up and who I was attracting. So I'm really so glad that I was at the time really open to see that these women needed my help and support, because they ended up being amazing clients for over 5 years. It really truly was amazing. So my lessons from all of this and sharing my story with you today: number one, don't feel pressured to have it all figured out and perfect before you launch. Number two, don't let not having a niche and an ideal client hold you back. Just get out there and start doing something. You'll learn so much about yourself as a coach and who you want to work with. So don't, forget about those lessons. And number three, trust that as you do the work, your ideal clients will appear. They will show up. And number four, get some support when you need it and are ready for it to take your practice to that next level. So drop me a comment below and tell me what you think. I hope this has been helpful to hear my experience and how I was able to come up with my niche and target market. See you next time.